If you're watching this, you're probably at that point where everything feels used up. Your money, your energy, your patience, maybe even your hope. And starting over at zero, it feels impossible. But here's the thing most people never say out loud. You can start over from zero. Not by pretending everything is fine, and not by waiting to feel motivated, but by treating your situation like rebuilding after a storm, not like fixing a moral flaw. Let's talk about how to actually do that. 1. Stop trying to solve all of life at once. When you're exhausted and broke, your brain wants to fix everything at once. That instinct is honest, but it's also the reason you keep getting stuck. Think of starting over like trying to move a refrigerator. When you push it, it doesn't glide forward in one smooth, heroic motion. It rocks. Forward a little, then back, then forward a little more, then back again. But each time you lean into it, you gain a tiny bit more ground than you lose. Eventually, it breaks loose and starts actually moving. Starting over works exactly the same way. You will move forward, then slip back, then push again. That back and forth isn't failure, it's physics. The important thing is that each push gets you a little farther than the last. And your job right now is not to drag the whole refrigerator of your life across the room. Your job is simply push it once, then again, then again. 2. Forget motivation. Build a floor and shorten your time horizon. Motivation is unreliable when you're running on fumes. If you depend on it, you'll stall. Instead, build a non-negotiable micro floor and shrink your focus to something you can actually win. Most people try to think in months, weeks, or huge life arcs. When you're exhausted, that's like trying to stare at the whole marathon when you haven't even taken the first step. Don't look at the marathon. Look at the next 2 hours or the next 24 hours, nothing beyond that. Okay, what do I need to handle in the next 24 hours so tomorrow isn't worse? That's stability thinking. That's how you carry yourself through hard seasons without blowing a fuse. Long horizons create panic. Short horizons create traction. Your floor is simple. Basic care, brief movement, one task that protects your stability, and a time horizon small enough that your brain doesn't revolt. The future gets built in 10-minute reps, not in cinematic overhauls. 3. Use the 3% rule to rebuild your momentum. Most people try to rebuild their life at 100% effort, burn out, collapse, then shame themselves for collapsing. You don't need 100%. You need 3%. Ask yourself every morning, what moves me forward by 3% today? Not fixing your whole life, just nudging it. Because 3% gains compound the exact same way money does. 4. Get brutally specific about what's draining you. A lot of exhaustion comes from treating every problem like it's equally important. It isn't. Most people aren't drowning from life, they're drowning from one or two unaddressed leaks. Name the leak, patch the leak, then the rest becomes manageable again. 5. Trade fantasy goals for leverage goals. Fantasy goals feel exciting, but don't change your day-to-day reality. Leverage goals are smaller, but they unlock bigger options. Here's a real-life analogy. If your car is stuck in mud, flooring the gas just digs you deeper. Your fantasy goal is drive out fast. Your leverage goal is put something under the tires, a board, some gravel, even old clothing, something small that gives you traction. Your life works the same way. Before momentum comes traction. Before traction comes leverage. 6. Rebuild your identity in the smallest possible pieces. You didn't lose who you are. You lost the circumstances that supported that version of you. Identity comes back in fragments, tiny proofs, small actions that confirm, yes, I still have that in me. One thread at a time. That's how people come back. 7. Build a life you can run, not a life you constantly fail to keep up with. When you're rebuilding, don't design the life you wish you had. Design the life you have the capacity to actually live right now. Sustainable beats impressive, every time. If you build a life you can run at 20% energy, you'll eventually reach 40, then 60, then 80. But if you build a life that requires 80% right away, you'll crash. Starting over when you're broke and exhausted isn't a character flaw. It's a rebuilding project. You'll rock forward and back. Some days will stretch you. Some days will shrink you. But every honest push gets you farther than you were before. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need endless motivation. You need a small horizon, a stable floor, and leverage, not fantasy. You're not out of options. You're just at the part of the story where the refrigerator hasn't broken loose yet. But it will. And when it does, you'll move farther than you thought you could.